So, Northern Lions. It's on a fucking horse now.
It's on a horse now. They found one. This is the only fucking one in the entirety of the Northern Lions that they've found the
They've
horse.
tracked it down. Go on then, Thomas, your baby.
Well, I guess I started with the horse. I might as well continue with the horse. This is the most exciting part, I think, of the entirety of the Northern Lions update for me is you have the option for a mount on your Lord. Finally. Northern Lions have found a horse. It's not Clarion with his one go, and it's not the millions of Frostfangs, which are only ridden by Lords. You've got a horse option, and it's great because if you look at the Lord option now, he's gained an attack. So he's at 6 attacks now. He's crushed 2 anyway. You give him that mount option, he's 110 points as this, so you go up to 145, and you've got, with a Snow Fox obviously, 155 point, 7 attack, crushing 2 individual. I'm thinking.
Is that good though?
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's not.
I haven't. So I mean, we've had this. I've had this conversation in the past.
Is it just that you're excited that you can get a horse?
Yeah. Well, yeah.
but
he's useful. Like a Lord was never useful before.
No, it's not. But every other army has always had access to a mounted Lord, and no one takes him.
Right, but that's because Northern Lions has a massive problem. So if Northern Lions wants to go and jump into a bow line, what does it do? Well, it walks forward and gets shot because it doesn't have an option.
Yeah, so it's now.
If Northern Lions has another individual ring at them, what does it do? Nothing, because it has nothing that is capable of dealing with a combat individual. How many times have I played you with a Shade or an Abyssal Champion where it just walked forward and gone, I don't care about whatever you've got, I'm going to go fight that pack on a unit, I'm going to kill it.
And how many times has that had any impact on the outcome of the game?
Massively. The last one where we were I was talking about how that Abyssal Champion could have won you the game if you'd have turned round. Because I have no option of dealing with any of those guys, and he can actually do it. And if you want to give him the Mournful Blade, so he's got duelist. Or if you want to give him the Rampage Arm, so he's got an extra D3. Or if you want to go after a War Engine, because if North Lions want to go after a War Engine, they have nothing capable of doing it. The only things they've realistically got are Lords and Frostfangs, Chimeras, both of which are far too expensive to chasing after War Engines because you need to do literally everything else in your army. So you've got a guy who's cheaper than both of them who can actually do that job and do it well. I think it's nice because it's a different option to a Lord and Frostfang.
Yeah,
it's fun.
But would you take it over Lord of Frostfang?
No.
would you take it over the is it Chieftain on Frostfang? Thane on
Frostfang. Probably, yeah. I mean,
it's now inspired.
It's not that obviously he's not as good as Lord of Frostfang, but he's also 25 points cheaper.
It's different utility.
If I gave it, I'd consider giving him Scout, to be honest. Just so I've got that option
to really double down on that.
It's Scout on those mounted characters is one of the things that you don't use it as often as you think for like the turn 1 charge with the warrant, but it's a really good utility.
Yeah, it's scary.
And it forces your opponent to deploy appropriately, which can be.
But other characters running around with 7 attacks and crush 2. You got Cursed Sons.
Vampires, yeah.
You got Vampires. Vampires are far more expensive.
Yeah.
And he's obviously fairly cheap and cheerful.
So what you're saying is
give him the Horn of Winter as well, because you can give him when he's mounted. He gains Well Charged 1. And he can zip across the board 16 inches to be where it needs to be. So your opponent then has to be 12 inches away from your infantry. So if he's got 6-inch speed stuff, he then have Catverse walk into charge range and make you move.
Yeah.
Which is nice. So I think he's really nice. I really like that. I think he's actually useful now.
Yeah, well done for finding the one horse.
Really, yeah.
The one horse in the frozen.
You could run 3 of them if you want. You'd be bloody mad to do that. You
found 3 horses in the worst of the Northern. Can't possibly give them to the rest of you guys. But I found it.
Yeah, it makes the Lord usable. Yeah. Before he just wasn't.
No, I agree. It is a nice change. I think the extra attack was. If it had just been the mount, I don't think it would have been enough. But the extra attack as well. Just tips it into being worthwhile. Yeah. The Elf Clansman changed to be similar to the...
I really like this because Northern Lions, unlike Elves, aren't struggling for cheap, low-cost drops. You've got... I say struggling. You've got Dwarves, which would realistically do the job anyway. You didn't really need... And I don't think I ever saw anybody run Elf Clansmen.
No.
Yeah.
Because they're crap.
No, people used to use the old Elf bow regiments because, like I say, you needed a cheap regiment unlock.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've never seen Elf Clansmen used.
I think it's actually... I kind of glossed over it at the time, but actually I think it's a bit more important than I really realised. You've got access to a competent shooting unit with 24-inch range shooting, because Northern Lions has nothing over 12-inch, which is competent. Like the Ice King Hunters, I guess, a bit better now, but before they were, I think, crap and shit. And every time I use my playtesting, I was there thinking, because of the Frozen, you're paying such a amount of points for them, and every single time you fire off thinking, I need to get the Frozen, I just will do a single damage.
Yeah.
Like Frozen worked on the hit, I'd be like, it's fine, I can take not doing damage, but so often they're so expensive, not doing any damage at all, and now at least like Clansmen, they're not cheap, and they can do that job, and if you want them from Unlock, they'll do the job. Yeah. There's a reason to think about using them now, whereas before when it just wasn't.
Speaking of Ice King Hunters.
And they feel like elves and not silly goblins. Yeah.
Ice King Hunters also got a buff, similar to Gradestalkers.
Yeah. They've taken
extra melee, more attacks, and more units.
They've got the Elf Gradestalker upgrade, but obviously they get the Frozen on top of that. I think they're a 5-point increase, which is spot on, really. Yeah. So it's they can fight, they can shoot a bit better now because they've got more attacks. So it's a bit more of a reason to use them because I think last time they were just too expensive and useless. Whereas now they're a bit more useful at everything that they do. Yeah, I'm happy with that. They might finally do a damage and Frozen might work. Great.
So, am I reading this right that Ice Elementals, it's a lot of words to say that they're no longer spellcaster?
Yeah.
It's a nerf
in every way.
It is a nerf.
There's no way around it. It's a nerf.
Yeah.
I mean, I think everyone knows why it's there. It's so that Hex can't ruin their day. And also, it's a nerf. There's a view, and it's the Americans again, it's always the Americans, that Ice Elementals were massively broken and that they were the best thing since sliced bread and that they needed nerfing. And that isn't why this change happened, actually. It happened for the Hex reason. But this is a nerf in every way.
It is.
Every way you look at it, they're now taking individual stealthy.
Because I've had this conversation, we had this conversation when I was bitching about Ice Elementals changing. Because I've got one horde complete and I've got 2 on the painting table, and now I'm probably never going to use them because this is too much for me. Because my issue, which I've had this conversation with Nick specifically about Northern Lions being a horrible matchup with Night Stalkers, is that every single time I'd have that conversation, I'd say, except from the Ice Elemental list, because the Ice Elemental list looks at all your stealth being your individuals and goes like, fuck.
Yeah.
Walking over and near me, I'm going to put 36 breath on you, and then I'm going to surge into you.
Yeah.
It was just terrifying. It's like, you got a horde of scarecrows, cool. One out, and one horde's going to go deal with it.
Yeah.
Whereas now I can't deal with it because you've got 2 shot of range, and you don't ignore the stealthy or their individual now. So, whereas that was the only tool Northern Lions had in their box set.
Yeah.
And it was just this one mono build. You've now lost it. I think you can still run it. It'll still work as a list. And there's other things now which make it still viable because your Frost Giants have got better, Hrim's got better. We'll touch on that in a sec. Hrim's now like everyone's like Lords of Frostfang top 3. Hrim's challenging. I'd take Hrim over a Lord of Frostfang.
True. Very inspiring for it. Oh
yes. So very inspiring everything. Yeah. He's super good.
Well,
finishing off Ice on, I think the suck, and I'm not happy about it. I am better. I'm not gonna lie. I've just got 2 more holes on the painting table. I am better.
Well, we'll cheer you up with Harim.
Yes. yeah. So now I'm not better again because this is awesome. Frost Giants and Hrim, so I'll cover Frost Giants with them. So Frost Giants are Gain Slayer D6, which means that against large infantry, large cavalry, monsters, titans, big things, they get an extra D6 attacks, which is awesome.
What are they, D6 plus?
D6 plus 8 at the
D6 plus 8.
Yeah, so 2d6 plus 8, crush 4 attacks.
Yeah.
Pretty tasty.
Yeah. But you're never going to bother with them because Lords of Frostfang exist.
Yeah.
Even with the plus 8. However, go look at Hrim now.
Yep.
Who for 260
points also gets
Slayer D6 on top and inspires everything now.
And his D6 plus 10. So it's like,
Because Hrim had to be in an Ice Elemental list so that the Ice Queens could also affect him and that his very inspiring could affect the Ice Elementals. So you didn't see him in anything else kind of list because you're paying a premium where you can just pay under premium for a Lord of Frostfang. Like you take the discounted option. So now there's a reason for him to sit in your list. He can sit in the middle of your line and be a very inspiring, absolute brick wall.
Yeah.
Dash 20,
Fearless 20, yeah. Fearless 20, Death 5.
Yeah, Fearless 20, Death 5.
Yeah, and if you've got your Thane with Rallying sat around behind him, your units are getting the very inspiring from Hrim. Yeah. They're getting the rally from your Thane, and the Thane can then take the loot or Hex. Hex is actually good.
Serakina's Raiders of Life, Frostbound stuff as well, so she can. Yeah, Hirim's a very, very good choice now.
Hirim's going to be absolutely horrendous, and I've had a model in the basket which I've shown you for a while, and I'm there going, nah, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. Everyone's going to, but I hate seeing Hirim because I think Hirim. Well, I think the other problem in Northern Alliance is trying to find units which can replace Lord and Frostfang.
Yeah.
Because Lord and Frostfangs they're ubiquitous because they are the best choice.
Yeah.
And we're getting somewhere to doing that now. Hirim's now an option.
Yeah.
A Lord on a horse will fill in for certain people where they need it in their list archetype. And also, Lord and Chimera got 10 points cheaper. So he's now the points that he should have been. He's 310 points now?
Yeah, so he's in line with all the other dragons that got made cheaper for that.
Yeah, for me, he was the worst.
Yeah.
I'd have liked to have seen Ice Breath become just 12-inch because it is the worst spell shooting attack. So I'd have liked to have seen him get that. However, you can't complain that you just got a straight up discount.
Yeah.
So it's good.
They all did. I think it's fair to say that in 3rd edition, the 75mm base wasn't costed them. So that when
Dragons were so good last edition.
Yeah.
But they all got pointed up for how they were in 2nd edition, so they all got up in cost. And no account was given for the fact that 75mm is
massive,
much worse.
Yeah. I remember having a discussion once with a Mantic rep about the drawbacks of a 75mm base when all their monsters coming on 75s, but the entries for 50mm, and they were saying, no one would choose not to use a Mantic model because of the base size. Yeah, they would.
No, you're right. So you get your Mantic model and you balance it on a rock.
Yes.
No, it's orders of magnitude worse, isn't it? As 75mm.
But people now, because you have no other option in Northern Alliance for an actual proper hard hitting unit like him, you've now got the option for it because Lord and Frostfang will not stop a flyer. He's literally not. He doesn't have the speed for it.
Yeah.
Flyer walks into range. Lord and Frostfang walks back 3.5 inch, and it's still in range. You've got no way of escaping. Yeah. That's just the only real downside of Lord and Frostfang using him. You have to use a second unit like Snow Foxes to be a bit further forward.
Yeah.
And then the Lord covers him. The Snow Foxes get into range to push them back.
Well, there's be one downside somewhere.
Yeah. And I mean, the Lord and Frostfang and the Snow Foxes are still cheaper than the Dragon.
He's cheap enough that you've got that other unit and a half.
Let's not lie. It is cheaper. You'd still probably lose the fight overall. But that's what you had to do. Whereas he's cheaper, so he's still got the effectiveness of holding back dragons, holding back your Drakenhorn and stuff like that, which nothing else in the Northern Alliance game could do. He can do it now. So you've got two of them that are capable of doing that because a dragon probably won't one-shot him and things cover him. Yeah, I knew you were going to do it. I saw it and I'm like, that was a mistake. Yeah.
So overall, changes to Northern Alliance. There's some good stuff in there, I think, but looking at all the other buffs that every other army will get it.
Clansman either. Or the formation, or
do you even think it's worth talking about the formation or Carrion? In terms of stuff that you might use in a competitive list.
Now I'm bitter again. Right, so
I think in general for me, the Northern Alliance have got some nice stuff, but compared to some of the other, because the thing is,
but did they need more?
No,
I think Northern Alliance did need more because decent lists were 3 Frostfang, some Snow Foxes, and then go. Whereas they needed something like the herd problem. Like how many beasts of nature and Moonfang can get in and then go? Right.
Yeah, there's some nice stuff in there. I still don't think Northern Alliance are going to change their relative power level. No. I think what they've got here will help them keep up with all the other buffs that everybody else is getting. But I think they'll remain as strong as they were before, basically. I don't think they'll be overtaken, and I don't think they'll...
Isonomalus is dead.
I don't think it's dead. It's not as good as it was.
I didn't think it was that good anyway.
But now your Ice Elementals can have a couple of Elf Clansman regiments at the back. So they can do that shooting, and then your Clansmen can pile on. So the
Asking Hunters work a bit better with them now.
Yeah. So I don't think they're going to get any worse relatively, or any better than they were, really, in the rankings. I think Northern Alliance were always fairly mid-table.
Yeah.
Bottom mid-table. But yeah, I think they're nice stuff.
Overall, I'm happy. We're getting there.
Are you sure?
These are heading well, they're 5 points cheaper overall now, Clansmen. So they're only 5 points too much now. Well, 10 to 15 points. 10 points too much now.
We're in the margin of error.
Yeah, we're heading in the right direction.